Little luxuries are all around us. I mean, who doesn't love the good things in life? But just because I enjoy a little luxury doesn't mean that I can always afford it. Until I discovered Quince. Quince is my go-to for all essentials at an affordable price. Items like organic cotton sweaters, 14 karat gold jewelry, washable silk tops and dresses are all at a price within reach. And the best part is that all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. And they're all made with premium fabrics and finishes. I live in athleisure, and my navy blue slim fit jacket from Quince has become one of my favorite pieces to both run in and just kind of hang out in. It's warm on those chillier spring days, and it's sweat wicking, which is perfect to work out in. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/8020 for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/8020 to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/8020.
Are you looking for an experience that will grow your teenagers' faith, increase their leadership skills, and teach them the discernment to engage with the world all around them, all while taking them on the adventure of a lifetime? I mean, who isn't looking for that? If your teenager loves fun, adventure, and wants to grow in their faith and leadership this summer, then send them to Excel's Summer Leadership Camp. Excel's Summer Leadership Camp is a 12-day experience for passionate young leaders looking to discover God's truth, to discern wisely, and live wholeheartedly. Your teenager will embark on a transformative journey in the Blue Ridge Mountains, where they'll build lasting friendships in the context of community, embark on thrilling adventures like camping, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, and they will receive expert training and certifications in categories like CPR and wilderness first aid. Each aspect of the camp is woven together to help them learn to discover truth, to discern wisely, and take godly action in the context of real-life situations. To learn more or begin an application, go to theexcelcamp.org. That's theexcelcamp.org. Hurry, because summer is just around the corner.
Giving up something, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It doesn't mean that it's gone forever, but it just means that it's a distraction or it's part of my identity and I need to let go. So in doing that, in feeling like I have certain things that I need to let go of, certain things that I need to stop doing. I need to focus on understanding more. I need to focus on my relationship with God, my relationship with people around me. And then I need to learn how to walk in faith through all of that. I wanted to bring you along with me to ride the wave, because I know I'm quick to question when things aren't necessarily going my way. I'm so quick to question if God cares. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to or back to the show. Thank you so much for clicking on today's episode. My name is Lily. I'm your host, and I'm pretty pumped about today's episode and just kind of the content that I have on deck for you guys over the next 5 weeks, which is pretty cool that I get to share with you the next 5 weeks worth of content. So this is kind of like a preview, an overview. Think of this as like the syllabus day for the next 5 weeks for all my guys and gals who are this episode, or this podcast is like 98% women. So for my gals and maybe like my 2 dudes that are listening, if you remember, or maybe you're in school, syllabus day, syllabus week. This is syllabus week. So kind of a slow roll of an intro, but it might not be that slow roll. Like I was typing away just now, and then I realized, like on my bullet points of what I'm going to say for this episode, and then I realized that I should just press record because I've written a novel by now. So either way, I'm pumped about today's episode. For those of you who have never clicked on 8020, a very special welcome to you. My name is Lily. I'm your host. I think I already said that, but that's okay. If you followed along with the pod for a while, you might know that I recently moved. I am back home in my coastal town of Ocean City, Maryland. And if you've been following along with my updates, I feel like there haven't been many updates because honestly, it is a slow, sleepy town in the wintertime. And there's not much to update you on. I still don't have that good of a routine. I still feel kind of disoriented. I did make a friend yesterday, so that was exciting. I've been really busy with school like the past 2 weeks. It just so happened that I'm in online school, so the terms are semester-long courses crammed into 8 weeks, so you can kind of stack your classes in a way that you can get more done. And it's really helpful for people who do online school and also have a full-time job. That's why they do these 8-week terms. And so I didn't realize that I had scheduled and registered myself for classes that overlapped. And it just so happened that these classes, I was already in 2, and then I started to do 2 more the week before we moved. And so the week that we actually moved was just so super hectic because it wasn't syllabus week for those classes anymore. It was full throttle. And that has been absolutely kicking my behind. And all I've been doing is just sitting in front of my computer screen and doing that, which I'm totally fine with. I don't want to complain because I'm grateful that we're so close. Like I was telling my parents yesterday that I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm going to graduate in December. I'm going to have to pile on a couple classes, but I'm going to graduate in December because I'm ready to move on. And I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I also feel like I'm starting to get nudges of direction of my next thing, which is pretty cool. And if you listen to the podcast episode from 2 weeks ago, I felt really directionless. So it just, week by week things change and day by day things change. And I feel like that's just kind of how life is when you're in this stage of life. But maybe life is like that your whole life. I don't know. We'll find out. So anyway, I've kind of been in a weird headspace, and this week is feeling much better than last week. Last week, I'm honestly so happy that I had that episode with Megan scheduled because it would have been like such a sad podcast episode if I recorded last week. So if you haven't listened to that episode with Megan, you definitely should. Megan Maines is an ER nurse. She's a running coach, and she is one of my best friends. And she was just sharing all kinds of cool bits and pieces of wisdom about running, about nursing, about how to balance the two, what it means to have a very stressful job and why taking care of yourself is super important. So she had a lot of really cool insight, and I was just really happy to have her on the show. So if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go do that. That episode was called How to Start and Enjoy Running, Self-Care in a Demanding Job, and Staying Healthy as an ER Nurse with Megan Maines. So you guys will like that. But today we are going to talk about something called surf. Welcome to Surf. This is a series that we are going to embark on over the next 5 weeks. And today I'm going to kind of share with you what the series is and what I hope that you get out of it, and also share a really cool resource that you can download that is completely free that will help you kind of over the next 5 weeks. So first and foremost, this 5-week series is called SURF. SURF it's an acronym. It stands for Stop, Understand, Relationships, and Faith. And I am really excited to dive into this. I'm probably going to be annoying with the metaphorical ocean terms, but that's okay. If you know me, you know that I love the water. Like, I'm a sucker for a hot tub, and I just find so much peace in the water. And so when this idea came to me, funny enough, it was actually supposed to be called like the spring cleaning series, but none of that really felt right. And then kind of last minute, and I'm talking like at the 11th hour, I decided to kind of switch up the theme, keep the content the same, but switch up the theme. And so we're going with surf. And I really like how this kind of programming turned out. So it's kind of exciting. SURF stands for Stop, Understand, Relationships, and Faith. And those are the 4 components of learning how to find joy and purpose through the ebbs and flows of life. Throughout my whole podcasting journey, I've been really transparent about the highs and the lows and the high highs and the low lows. And just like I mentioned earlier, week to week, day to day, things can change, and life can sometimes just feel like a battle every day. Wake up and there's so many things that are begging for your attention. There are so many just like negative pieces of the world that I think, at least I tend to focus on way too often, especially if life is throwing me tricky circumstances. And so through it all, you have 2 options and you have a choice. You can choose to sink. You can choose to succumb to the distractions, to the negativity, to just like living your life in a low place. Or you can learn to ride the wave. So over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about exactly that. This kind of links in a cool way with some of the stuff that I'm learning in school right now in psychology, because riding the wave can be a therapy technique of kind of letting emotions and circumstances run through you and letting it just kind of happen without a reaction, but also learning how to go with the flow and kind of just knowing that no matter if you're facing like little ripples or like 15-foot waves, the storm will eventually calm. So a little bit of a backstory. As I just mentioned, the series was originally supposed to be called Spring Cleaning, and that just didn't feel right. I'm in a place right now where I felt so deeply that I need to just remove things from my life because I was slipping. And I was really just kind of feeling distant from God and distant from the things that he says about me and distant from his purpose for my life. And I felt him just kind of gently say to me, like, you need to put down the phone. You need to turn off all social media. And there were a couple other things that he kind of called me to let go of over the next couple weeks. And we'll talk about those in the next couple weeks. But I just kept getting nudges from God to put these distractions down and lean on him. And so as I'm recording this, March 5th, Lent starts today. And I've never fully participated in Lent, but I'm really, really excited to this year. And I feel highly, highly, highly unqualified to lead you through like a Lent prayer and fasting series. I do not know enough to talk about that. And obviously I know that like nothing's too big for God. And every time I get on the mic, I pray that he would just speak through me and that this can just be like a vessel for you to learn more about him. But I really don't feel qualified to lead you guys through a Lent fast because quite frankly, I don't know that much about Lent. I know that it's a time of prayer and fasting. I know that it's a time of mourning our sin and learning about Jesus's journey to the cross and what that means for us and our salvation. I don't think that those brain cells have like collected where they need to go yet for me to conceptualize and speak on the depth of Lent. And I don't know if that even makes sense because I don't even think I understand it yet. But I do know that God was calling on me in my own life to pray and to fast and to fix my gaze on him and completely lean on him. Not only continue to look at him and learn about him, but lean on him as I give up things that I like. But maybe they're not good for me right now, or maybe they're distractions, or maybe they're things that are, or maybe they're sins, things that I just need to like completely lay down at his feet and be like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, we'll use social media as an example because that's an easy thing that I think is a distraction for a lot of us. And that's one of the things that I'm not participating in over the next 40 days and probably then some. But I found myself every night before bed, especially last week, like I mentioned earlier, was a really bad week for me. And this week is significantly better. And I'm like, I wonder why. March 1st, I deleted the Instagram app off my phone. I re-downloaded it today to post about this so you guys could download the program. I'll download it again tomorrow to post about the podcast because it was like this weird thing. I was like, God, how can I possibly give up Instagram because I need it for work? But then that was kind of like a little bit of an excuse, right? Oh, I need it for work. Like I need it. And then I just heard God say like, you don't need Instagram. Like that's ridiculous, but I'll give you permission to go ahead and do what you need to do, but then it needs to go. And so before I logged on today, I just prayed that this session of me posting 5 Instagram stories would be beneficial and glorify him, and it would reach the right people, and then it would be over. Like I wouldn't be tempted to scroll or anything, and I wasn't, which is really cool. Anyway, all that to say, giving up something, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It doesn't mean that it's gone forever, but it just means that it's a distraction or it's part of my identity, and I need to let go and I need to focus on God. So in doing that, in feeling like I have certain things that I need to let go of, certain things that I need to stop doing, I need to focus on understanding more, I need to focus on my relationship with God, my relationship with the people around me, and then I need to learn how to walk in faith through all of that. I wanted to bring you along with me to ride the wave. So we're going to do that. this 5-week study program, guided, whatever the heck, I don't know what to call it, this series, for lack of a better word, it's not a Lent study. It's not a guide to prayer and fasting. As cool as that would be, maybe next year, I don't know how to do that. And I don't know how to teach you all of that. So if you want a cool resource that I've been reading, I started it a little bit early, but it's called Journey to the Cross, a 40-day Lent devotional by Paul David Tripp. It's been really good. Like even the first day I was like, oh, okay, cool. Also, I wanted to kind of pause. If you don't know what Lent is, the Bible talks about prayer and fasting, but there's no verse in the Bible that mentions Lent. So this is where things get like tricky. And like I said, I feel like I don't know enough to even speak on it. So if I'm wrong, shoot me a DM if you've been to seminary and you can clue me in and help me. Would love to know more. But Lent is meant to kind of commemorate the 40 days that Jesus spent in the desert where he was tempted. And it's essentially a season of mourning and anticipation as we prep for Easter. So Jesus's 40 days are kind of highlighted throughout the Gospels and Matthew 4, and Mark and Luke as well. So if you want to learn more about Jesus's 40 days in the desert, you could just do a quick Google search. Jesus 40 days in the desert, and you can read scriptures about that. And I would encourage you to. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. In a world that glorifies independence, it can be really easy to forget how important it is to have a support system behind you. It's time to shift the focus from I can do it all to knowing that we're actually better when we ask for help. And that's why therapy can be a great resource to not only teach you how to ask for help, but understand how to lean on your support system through all the highs and lows. When I felt really down, my therapist has encouraged me to really lean on those around me, to not be afraid to ask for help when I need it. And I've even learned a ton of really positive coping strategies when it comes to dealing with stress and anxiety. BetterHelp is fully online therapy, which makes it really affordable and really convenient. With BetterHelp, you can access a diverse network of over 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And you can even switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/8020 today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/8020.
Whistle while you work.
From Disney on March 21st, the magical tale
Snow White.
Snow White?
Snow White.
that started it all
I believe you're looking for me.
arrives in theaters.
Magic mirror on the wall.
Experience the Disney classic
Who's the fairest one of all?
like never before.
We haven't even been introduced yet.
Disney Snow White, only in theaters March 21st. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
So let's talk about the next 5 weeks. Let's talk about serve. Stop, understand relationships and faith. Psalm 93 is one of my favorites, and it describes the holiness and mightiness of God over all of creation. It describes how the ocean is deep and powerful and debilitating and scary at times, but God's holiness and mightiness is so much greater than that. And reflecting on that psalm, I've really had a difficult time trying to grasp how mighty God is, because if you think of the ocean, I mean, a lot of people are scared of the ocean. It's big, it's deep, it covers most of the earth, and you don't know what's out there. But God is even mightier than that. And it doesn't even really, I think, put it in perspective, but it challenges you to think about God on a much deeper level. I encourage you to go read Psalm 93 as we kind of prep for the next couple weeks. But over the next couple weeks, we're going to discuss what it takes to serve. So next week, week 1 of this series, we'll talk about removing things from your life that distract and do not serve. That's our stop week. Then we'll talk about understanding. We will discuss prioritizing knowledge in order to comprehend, to gain insight, and to empathize. And then after that, we will talk about relationships, and we'll talk about first developing a relationship with Jesus, and then with others, and then yourself. And then our final week, we will talk about faith, which is believing that God will do what he says he will do and keeping the faith through all the highs and lows that life has to offer. And through all of that, we will keep God at the center of it all. So that's kind of an overview of the next couple weeks of what you guys can expect. And on top of all of that, I'm such a pen and paper girl, and I wanted to create some sort of resource for you to put in your hands to kind of help guide you as you listen to these episodes and as you kind of study on your own. I think that getting in the word and writing and just spending time in prayer, that's the best way that you can ultimately learn more about who God is and what he says about you and how you can grow. And so I created a guidebook that you can use in tandem with this series. So in order to get the guidebook, it's super, super easy. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes that says get the guidebook or the URL or whatever. Or you can type it in on your phone. It's lilyrakow.myflowdesk.com/surf. That's LILYRAKOW.myflowdesk, which is myflowdesk.com/surf. And then you just type in your name and your email, and then you click download. And if you are already signed up to get my emails from my newsletter, it'll go to your inbox right away. But if you're not already signed up for the newsletter, then you'll have to opt in and confirm your subscription. So make sure that you do that, and then you'll get the guidebook. So if you don't confirm your subscription, you will not get the guidebook. So make sure that you confirm, and then you will receive the guidebook. And you'll get an email. It's titled Download the Surf Guidebook. I made it really crystal clear. It'll come from Lily Rakow, and then it'll say Download the Surf Guidebook. And you can just save that file on your computer. You could print it out and we can get started. And also, if you are enjoying this so far, if you download the guidebook and you took a scroll through it and you're liking it, would you please take a second to just rate and review the show, to give it 5 stars, hopefully, if you think it's deserving of it. And this just seriously really, really helps the show boost in the algorithms and helps with engagement and helps platforms kind of show this podcast to other people who might potentially like it. And that is one of the ways that you can help support the show. I don't ask for people to pay to listen to the podcast. I don't do any sort of subscription. I don't, I run ads, but there's no cost to you to listen. And so if you are enjoying the show, I would really appreciate if you could just take a moment and rate it and review it. Or you could send it to a friend who might enjoy it, or send them a copy of the guidebook, or send them a link to download, and you guys can do it together. I feel like that would be really fun. So we're going to take like 5 minutes and just talk about how to use the guidebook, because I designed it and I want to teach you how to use it properly. So if you have not downloaded the guidebook, go ahead and pause this episode and then come back and we can go over it together. Hopefully now you have the guidebook in hand, and we're going to flip to page 3, which is how to use this guidebook. Obviously go over the first couple pages on your own, but how to use this guidebook, you will need just a couple things in order to participate in this series. You'll need this podcast, which you're already listening to, so check. You'll need your Bible, and if you don't have one, that's totally okay. There is a digital resource linked in the guidebook where you can just search up any and all of the scriptures that are listed, and you can read the Bible on your computer, or there is a Bible recommendation linked in the guidebook as well. I really, really love the She Reads Truth Bible. And actually yesterday when I looked, it was on sale on Amazon for like 50% off or something crazy like that. So if you want to grab a copy, want to grab a Bible, Amazon, they have tons of options, which can sometimes be overwhelming, but I really recommend the She Reads Truth Bible. It's a cool one. So to kick off each week, there is 1 page worth of content. And at the top of that page, it's a section with a biblically guided introduction to the content. So it's kind of like a mini Bible study. I mean, it could be It doesn't have to be mini, depending on how much time you spend. But it's an opportunity for you to lean into the word and learn about what God has to say about that week's topic. So I encourage you to read the study and then come back and listen to the podcast episodes, just so you can kind of do the study with fresh eyes, and then you can listen to the podcast kind of in tandem, and then you can always go back and add some more ideas into your notes. The next section on the page is going to be lesson notes, and we're calling these episodes lessons because these are your surf lessons, which is kind of cute. And so you can use that space on the page to jot down big ideas, small ideas, medium-sized ideas, whatever kind of pops into your brain as you're listening. And then the third section on each page will say take action. And that section encourages you to apply the things that you've learned in that lesson, to take something with you as you walk into your week. And most importantly, I really encourage you to go through this with a very prayerful attitude. In the guidebook, I share kind of a cool story when it comes to prayers. I will save that for you to read about. But as we kind of move into a prep stage, a prep week, I really encourage you to make prayer the main focus over the next 5 weeks. And I encourage you to pray that God will move here in your heart and change your heart posture and help you to change your actions. Maybe you feel stagnant. Maybe you feel like you've been in the same place for months, for weeks, for years, and you're getting nowhere and you need a breakthrough. Or maybe you feel like you've been completely trampled by the waves and you just can't catch a break, and it's just like one thing after another. Whichever, or maybe you're somewhere in between, whichever side of the coin you're on, that's totally fine. And I encourage you to really use the next couple weeks as just an opportunity to really open that line of communication with the Lord. And I just really, really pray that Christ is just magnified through all of this. And like we kind of opened today, like Lent is also happening now, and I don't want to take away from that. So I encourage you to turn to your leaders, your church. Like I said, I need to learn more about Lent. Like I feel like I don't fully or maybe this is good enough. I have no idea. So I encourage you to do both, or do that and then come back and do this, whatever works. I don't want this to be a replacement for Lent, because prayer and fasting and that is really important. So anyway, throughout the next 5 weeks, I really encourage you to really think about what's distracting you most. Do less of those things, and then all the rest will kind of just start to happen. So that's kind of my hope for the next couple weeks, that we just hit the reset button and learn how to ride the wave, go with the ebbs and flows of life, and keeping God at the center of it all, and ultimately learning how to keep the faith. Because I know I'm quick to question when things aren't necessarily going my way. I'm so quick to question if God cares. And as sad as that is to admit, it's true. And I mean, I do it. My friends do it. There are tons of characters in the Bible that have done it. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure that you do it. So that's kind of my hope. So that is what you can expect over the next 5 weeks. So if you aren't already subscribed to the podcast, I encourage you to do so. You can subscribe on Apple, you can subscribe on Spotify, you could subscribe on YouTube, or you could subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I encourage you to get the guidebook, and I encourage you to just really lean in, because this is going to be a lot of fun. I love you guys so much. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon.